Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Mr. Bell from Georgia Bell LLC, and this is part 2 of making a workstation out of junk. This is the second video where basically I take that same workstation that I made from the junk of old tabletops and box frames and bed frames, and I make a few adjustments. I needed to make sure that the table saw station was leveled with the assembly table, and I also needed to make sure that the miter saw station was stable. At this point, it was sitting on a folding table, and I wanted to change that. I needed something a little bit more solid. So let's get into that with this video.
vicious and quick wit, she managed to trick the officer and get away with a warning.
I blew a 3.8 and he let me off with a warning and gave me his number and said we should meet for coffee at lunch. He was hot, so I'm getting lucky.
If her story is true, then the officer would be in serious trouble. But luckily, the officer in question recorded the entire interaction on his body cam, and the video tells a completely different story.
You said they saw him in the George County Sheriff's Office. I pulled you over because you were weaving a little bit back there. Where are you coming from?
I was coming to my dad.
Okay.
I was like crying and like I'm really
Okay. Were you on your phone and stuff too? Okay. Well, I'm just concerned about you're on your phone. Have you been drinking or anything tonight? No? Okay.
The deputy then does give Skylar a card with the information on it, but it didn't include his personal number, and it didn't come with an invitation to dinner.
Sounds like you're having a rough night, so I'm not going to add to that by writing you a ticket or anything, okay? So, I'm just going to give you a warning. It's not a big deal. You're okay. You're weaving a little bit, and I just want to make sure you're okay to operate the motor vehicle, and I believe you are. So my information's right here on the front. The reason I stopped you here is on the back. Wherever you're headed, get there safely. I'm sorry you're having a bad night. Okay. No, you're fine. Yeah,
Okay, so the monster table is now complete. I have fastened and secured all the tools to the table. As you can see, I have a new frame here, and I use bed rails here and some mounting brackets, all salvaged parts, to mount the table saw in place. So when you power it up, it does not move, which is great. Didn't know how I was going to do that once I took it off the stand, but it's on there nice and solid. I lowered the leg posts about an inch, and I lowered the sitting rail about an inch here, just so it can sit flusher to the table, as you can see. So if I'm working on a piece, I can just slide it right on over. Got a little rail for tracking with a track saw. This was the idea. Just a simple bed rail. So that way, if I'm dealing with a wider piece of lumber, I can stretch it out here and just use the track saw to cut a straight edge. Got another miter saw here, which I did not want to mount, so that way if I'm working with longer pieces, I can move this out the way. And then we have the router stand. Finally got that mounted and hooked up. Ready to go. And nothing was done to the bandsaw, but it's a little bit higher than the assembly table. Got a little computer here for researching when need to. So I can completely walk around this whole table setup, from the assembly to the bandsaw to the router to the miter to the track. Got a backup miter. I use this one for cutting metal. Use this one for cutting wood. And back to the table saw, which is the centerpiece here. Knowing that I got everything plugged up, even the drill press, got that still sitting on that pedestal. I think I'm not gonna enclose this up, only for the simple fact that I do not have my dust collection system set up. But I think this table turned out pretty good. Had to take the miter saw station off of a folding table that I had, and I used these two little end tables that I had and mounted some bed rails up under them and fixed them to a tabletop. So this is nice and sturdy now. It was very wobbly and unstable, but as you can see, I still have all my levels. Everything is still leveled, and my tables are completely flushed. So The only table that was not made was the table that the router is sitting on, which has metal legs down there. But I used that height to set the height for the miter saw station as well as the bandsaw station. And that's even adjustable. I can raise it or lower it anytime I want. But I think I'm going to go with that height because I'm a pretty tall guy. And I like it. It's probably about 37 inches off the ground. And I can work all the way around the station. So for those who stuck with me during this build, I appreciate it. Like and subscribe whenever you get a chance. Thanks.